You idiot! I said you have to aim right. We're not here for fun. Vincent reached out and slapped Tim in the back of his head. Ouch! I did! Tim protested, offended, as he rubbed the sore spot. When Vincent was angry, he was hard to stop. Then, the old woman would be dead! Shaking his head, he took the pad in front of him and furiously crossed out the last number he had written down. Hey, that's not fair, Tim began again, but when he saw his buddy's angry face, he fell silent. Vincent had made the rules, and it was better not to argue with him. He'd been so tense lately, probably because things were difficult at home. His father had lost his job and was now drinking even more than before. Damn computers! Taking away our jobs! That had been the tenor of their conversation for weeks. Tim didn't know if what his father was saying was true, but he didn't want to ask Vincent about it. If he did, he would certainly get angry, and then he would be unpredictable. Just the other day, he had punched his sister so hard that her arm had been bright blue for a whole week. If he could hit a 4-year-old like that, Tim had better not find out what he was going to do to him. In any case, the mood at home in Vincent's trailer was at a new low. Just like always. It wasn't always pleasant in their own trailer either, but nowhere near as bad as Vincent's. A few weeks ago, it was the stupid foreigners who were taking their jobs. Before that, it was the economic crisis. Tim was curious to see what the next reason would be why Vincent's father kept getting kicked out. Of course, he would never admit that it was probably because he drank too much and kept getting abusive. Now it was Vincent's turn. He aimed, shot, and scored. With a broad grin, he wrote down his points. We're at the next level. Now it's getting harder. That's why you get 2 points for the next hit. Tim nodded. That was okay for him. It was really getting harder and harder. The targets were moving faster now and the time was almost up, and he definitely wanted to win. The punishment Vincent had come up with for the loser was just too severe. And Tim didn't think he would be able to do it. Tim wasn't bad, but he would never be as good as his friend. Ball games seemed to be in Vincent's blood somehow, but he wouldn't give up. He had already earned a few points, and Vincent was only just ahead of him. He set his sights on his next target. He would miss the days when he sat in front of the games console with Vincent for hours on end, if he could miss them at all. It was a sad thought, but Vincent was his best friend, and he wouldn't let him down now. He himself liked games like GTA or World of Warcraft better than the shooting games that his buddy was so into. He also liked playing Mario Kart from time to time, but he would never admit that to Vincent. He would only make fun of him and call him gay, and he didn't want that at all. So he kept that to himself and instead spent hours working with Vincent to improve their score. When they became bored with the missions they had to complete in the video games, Vincent always came up with new games to keep up the excitement, as he put it. He laughed terribly wildly, which seemed a little scary to Tim. He had been behaving strange lately. A few days ago, Vincent came up with the idea for the game. When he first told him about it, Tim was a little skeptical at first, but not for long. It just sounded too good. The rules were simple. Everyone had 10 shots, and whoever had the most points at the end won. Just like at the shooting gallery at the fair. Only in this case, the prize wasn't a fluffy, cuddly toy. Tim aimed and fired. Direct hit. The woman dropped like a stone. Wow! Vincent jumped to his feet and punched Tim on the arm. That's amazing! Did you hear the scream? Totally real. Tim nodded. Like Splinter Cell, super cool. Nah, bro, the graphics here are much better. More like Call of Duty. But now it's my turn. Give me that. They took turns, otherwise it would have been unfair. Tim pointed in one direction. Over there, the old man with the wheeled walking frame. If you catch him, you'll get 2 points. Vincent smiled. The 2 points were safe. The old and infirm were an easy target, especially when they panicked, acting like startled chickens running to their own doom. He aimed, boom, hit. The old man toppled forward onto his walker. Vincent smiled triumphantly. Well, if that wasn't a good shot, it's your turn. Your last shot. Now you have to hit it, otherwise you lose. Now it really mattered. He took aim, took another deep breath, then held it, pulled the trigger, and missed his target. What a fucking mess. Ha ha! You lost! Vincent jumped up and down excitedly. He pointed a finger at Tim and laughed heartily. What a bummer! Tim suddenly felt sick to his stomach. He couldn't do this. It wouldn't be a problem with himself, but he couldn't do it with Vincent. Come on now. Let's get this over with before the cops come and put us in jail. Oh man, Vincent, I don't know if I can do this. Vincent punched him in the chest with a quick blow. Tim winced. He hated when his buddy did that, but at that moment he realized that it would be the last time Vincent here punched him, and he suddenly felt sad. Yes, he had agreed to play the game, but he couldn't have imagined that it would be so hard to pay for his defeat. Vincent, Tim began, and tears welled up in his eyes. Vincent became serious and looked at his buddy. His voice was calm, composed, almost relaxed. Absurd, considering the situation they were in. Come on, man. You promised. I'm not going to jail and I'm not going home. What do you think my old man will do to me when he hears about this? We're going through with it now. He spread his arms and closed his eyes. Tim nodded. He had promised and would not let his friend down now. He picked up Vincent's father's rifle, which they had taken from under his bed this morning, raised it to his shoulder, and aimed it at his best friend's head. Oh man. Why couldn't Vincent have lost? Then he would have to shoot him now and then himself. His hands were shaking. The screech of a police siren mingled with the excited screams of the frightened people who had just been enjoying their day off in the park and for whom the boys' game had become a nightmare. It wouldn't be long before the officers would be there. The spot Vincent had chosen was a good one. The roof of their school next to the park was really perfect for it. High up, easy access. No one had stopped them even with the hunting rifle. Tim had earned 12 points, Vincent 13. Not bad for such a short time. The evening news would have plenty to report, only they wouldn't get to hear it. Tim closed his eyes, held his breath, took aim, and pulled the trigger.
I am Maggie J, and you're listening to Thrill, Suspense, Crime, and more. If you like what you hear, subscribe to my channel for a new story every week.